Hi everyone, so I'm going to go through significant figures and how to round to those. So we've got these numbers to start off with. I'm going to round each of these to one significant figure to start off with. Okay. Now the first significant figure is the most important bit at the start. You need to find out where that is. Okay, so that's the first non-zero number, is your first significant figure. In this case, for number 1, it's the 7, so that's my first significant figure, and then while I'm rounding to one significant figure, I need to find where that is, and then I need to look at the next number. So I put this imaginary wall in, if you like, have a look over. Now this next number is going to tell me what I'm going to do with the previous number, the one just left of this imaginary wall. If it's 5 or above, then I'm going to round the number to the left up. I'm going to move it up one digit, because then it will be closer to the number above. If it's halfway, we go above. If it's less than 5, then this first number, the number just left of that imaginary wall, is going to stay the same, and that's because it will be closer to, in this case, 70 than 80. Okay, if you think about a number line, we've got 70 here and we've got 80 over here. 74 is just below halfway, so it's going to be closer to 70 than it will be to 80. So in this case, this is going to round to this number, the 7 will stay the same, and then the numbers after this imaginary wall will always turn to a 0, so we get 70 to one significant figure. Next number, again find the first significant figure, which is the 3. Put your imaginary wall in, look over. Now in this case it's a 6, which means it's bigger than 5. 5 or above, you round the number to the left of your wall up 1. Because in this case this number is closer to 400 than it is to 300. So the 3 goes to a 4, and the numbers after your imaginary wall go to zeros. They will always go to zeros. And again, that's one significant figure. 6999, 6,999. And then my first significant figure is the 6. Put my imaginary wall in. The next number is a 9, okay, which means that this 6 is going to go up to a 7, okay. If that number just to the right of your wall is 5 or above, the number just before, just to the left, goes up 1. So in this case it's going to go up to a 7, and the numbers after that wall are always going to go to zeros. Okay, now we're having a look at some decimals here. Now, as always, the most important thing is finding your first significant figure. The first significant figure in this case is your first non-zero number, so these zeros here don't count. My first significant figure is actually this 2. So then, same process again once you found that. Put your imaginary wall in, look over, and it's going to be a 6. 6 is 5 or above, which means that we're going to round that 2 up, move that up 1, so we get 0.03, and I can write the 0 afterwards, but it's not going to make a difference to the actual number, so I don't need to write this 0 afterwards, because it's after my decimal point. It's not a placeholder. These zeros here are placeholders, so I don't write those. It's just going to be 3 units. 3 is a whole number, which obviously this is not close to. Whereas the zeros afterwards won't change the place value. Okay, next one, number 5. Again, the first 0 doesn't count. Our first significant figure is a 5. Imaginary wall. Okay, look over, it's a 0, which is obviously below 5. So this 5 just to the left of the wall stays the same. 0.5, and these all turn to zeros, but again I don't need to write these because they're not placeholders. And then final one to one significant figure. The 9 is my first significant figure. Put my imaginary wall in, look over, it's a 5. 5 or above, you round up. Okay, so this 9 is going to go up to a 10. We can't put a 10 just in that column, so we've got to carry the 1 over. So we're actually going to get 1 point, and then you can put your 0 in there. Okay, and then because these are after my decimal place, I don't need to write these 2 zeros after my imaginary wall, and in fact I don't even need to write the 0.0 I can just write that as 1 to one significant figure. Okay. Now I'm going to have a go at doing, well, I'm going to show you how to do 2 and 3 significant figures, but we're going to have to get some different numbers because, for instance, there's not enough digits in, say, 74 to do 3 significant figures, or 0.026 for 2 or 3 significant figures. It will just stay the same for 2 significant figures. Okay. So first number we'll look at 752, and then we'll go with 1094, 72,561, and then we'll have a look at some decimals again. So 0.0571, 0.00623, and finally 0.000999. Okay, so we're going to do 2 significant figures for these. So first things first, you need to find your second significant figure. So 1, 2. So that's my second significant figure. The 5, imaginary wall. Look over. It's a 2. So that means that 5 is going to stay the same. 7 is also going to stay the same. And then after the imaginary wall, we're going to get a 0. So 750, and that's the 2 significant figures. 1094 to 2 significant figures. The 1 is my first significant figure. The 0 counts. Once you start counting significant figures, the zeros afterwards, they do count. So 1, 2, the 0 is my second significant figure. Imaginary wall. Look over, it's a 9, which means the 0 is going to go up 1. So get 1, 1, 0, 0. 1100 to 2 significant figures. Okay, now what I'm going to do with the third one is I'm actually going to do this to 3 significant figures. So count 1, 2, 3, that's my third significant figure, put my line in. Imaginary wall, look over. Now 7 and 2 are always going to stay the same. It's just about this 5. Does that stay the same, or does it increase by 1? Now the next digit is a 6, which is 5 or above. So that means this 5 just before my imaginary wall is going to go up to a 6, and then we're going to have 2 zeros. Okay, and that's going to be to 3 significant figures. Just move it so you can see it there on the camera. Number 4, 0.0571. We're going to do this to 2 significant figures. Zeros at the start don't count. So 1, 2. Imaginary wall, look over. So these digits before the 1, just before the wall, so 0.05, they're always going to stay the same. It's just whether we change this digit that is just before my imaginary wall. Does that stay the same, or does it go up? So you have to look at the next number, which is a 1, so it's less than 5. If it's less than 5, that stays the same. After the wall turns to zeros, but as we know, as it's after my decimal point, I don't need to write that 0. Okay, and that's going to be to 2 significant figures. We've rounded this. Okay, what I'm going to do now is tweak this number slightly. I'm going to put a 1 at the end, just so we can round this to 3 significant figures. So again, find your third significant figure. Zeros at the start don't count. 1, 2, 3. Underline it. Imaginary wall. Look over. It's a 1, which means the number just to the left is going to stay the same. It's not going to go up by 1. 0.00623. And that is going to be to 3 significant figures. And then final one, we'll do 2 significant figures. Zeros at the start don't count. 1, 2, underline it. imaginary wall, look over, it's a 9, which means that this 9 is going to go up by 1, and we're going to carry that over because we can't have 10 in one column. This 9 is also going to go up by 1, which is going to be a 10, so we're going to carry that 1 over to this column, and so what we're going to get is 0.00. Now that 9, like we said, is going to turn to a 10, carry the 1 over, we're going to get 1 here, and then this is going to be a 0, this is going to be a 0, and this is going to be a 0. So we don't need to write those as they're after the decimal points. Okay, and that has been rounded to 2 significant figures. What I would be tempted to do, because it is 2 significant figures, is put this 0 afterwards. Okay, so we can see that it has got 2 significant figures, the 1 and the 0. Okay, even though it's not a placeholder, we don't have to write it technically. Okay, in the same way that if you look through all of these, number 1, 2 digits, 2 significant figures. Number 2, 2 digits, 2 significant figures, or I should say, sorry, 2 non-zero digits. Number 3, 3 non-zero digits, 3 significant figures. 4, 2 non-zero digits, 2 significant figures. Number 5, 3 non-zero digits, 3 significant figures. And then number 6 has 1 non-zero digit, but actually the second, after the 1, that 0 is a significant figure, isn't it? Because you count the zeros after your first non-zero number, which in this case is the 1. Okay, so that does have 2 significant figures as well. I just want to clarify, you only don't write the zeros when they are not placeholders, so when they are not keeping your digits in the right places, the places they need to be, which is why after the decimals here, don't need to write, after the last digits that I need to write here, the last non-zero digits for number 4, don't have to write the zeros after that because they're not keeping that 5 and 7 in place, they're not placeholders. Similarly, for number 5, I don't need to write the 0 after the 3 because it's not keeping that 6, 2, 3 in place. They will be in place regardless whether I write that 0 afterwards or not. Number 6 was only different because I wanted to have 2 significant figures, obvious to whoever's marking it. I could have put more zeros after this. It's not going to change the value of the number, but you know, it's not going to change again where that 1 is. It's not going to affect the place that that 1 is in. Okay, I hope that made sense. I hope you enjoyed that as much as you can. And if you've got any questions, put them in the comments for me. Okay, thank you.